So at the start of this week's episode of AEW Dynamite, Hangman and Page turned up and said, "Oh, hi, Carl Fletcher. You really took me to the limit at All Out, and I know your future is going to have great potential and you're going to be super duper whooper star." Listen, he was very nice here, a very good baby face. I kind of felt like he should have been a little bit mad. I mean, Carl Fletcher did take out Kenny Omega, not to dinner. He dropped his head through a table. And Hangman, he basically did this to you too. He also said that he has offered an open challenge up, which is why he is taking on Lee Moriarty this evening. I was like, great, okay. I saw that graphic earlier in the day and I was like, what the flub is going on? But if you're going to give me an explanation, this bored a-hole is totally fine with it. How about that? Also, my friends, wanted to AEW ups and downs for Dynamite, which is a strange way to say it. It's a wrestling review show. I watch all of this nonsense, so you don't have to, and we give the good bits an up, and we give the bad bits a down. Please share this with your friends and say there's this really strange guy that likes to review wrestling, then they can yell at me. That's the nature of 2025. But in terms of right now, sit down, have a cup of cocoa, let's up those downs. We then got our first match, which was for the AEW Tag Team titles, and this one did just confuse me a little bit, because of course Ricochet and the Gates of Agony had defeated the Hurt Syndicate at All Out, and I kind of thought they were going to go after the Trios titles again, but here the Gates of Agony were having a Tag Team title shot. Now that's cool, because we should take Brodido, Bandido, Badabimbo, and put them on TV defending those belts as much as possible. But when it comes to the Trios titles, it's a bit like my hairline. They vanish. And sometimes I just think you have to do the simple stuff, especially because it would be great if we could kind of re-cement some of these belts. So I'm going to give that a little bit of a down, but at the same time, we did get the Gates of Agony taking on Brodido, and it was just a really good match. And Brody King and Bandido won. The more they can win, the more they're going to feel like proper tag team champions, because for a while, some people were like, oh my gosh, they've just been thrown together. Well, now they're just super duper great. Bandido was just coming so damn fast to begin with as well, when Toa Leona just slapped him out of the sky like he was a fly, and that rhymes so it must be true. And I love that every single week now, somebody on commentary will go, well, that Leona, he is one of the best bench pressers in wrestling history. Now, it is true, the figures are out there, but I don't really understand why that makes you a good wrestler. Like, it makes you strong, but you can just say, oh my gosh, he's really strong. Otherwise, why don't I get his deadlift stats, man? Why don't I know how much he can squat? Eventually, the Fences of Pain then did start doing some old school tag team wrestling because they cut the ring off. And Ricochet was on commentary too, saying, I taught them all of this. I am the best. I say this, and I mean it as a compliment. I kind of feel like if you'd put Ricochet on commentary in WWE, he really wouldn't have sort of come across as his character, whatever that means. But in AEW, once again, he just continues to shine. I think Ricochet has to be thrown into that list of people that jump from one company to the next, and it was just the best move they could possibly make. Brody King eventually got the hot tag, and this lariat he gave to Bishop Khan, I honestly thought it killed him when he went for one of his cannonballs on the outside, and he went crashing into Barry Barricade. The Gates of Agony then hit their finisher, but thankfully Brody had snuck a Phoenix down outside the ring because he jumped back in and he broke it up at the 1-2. There was then some nonsense and Ricochet thought, you know what, the referee Aubrey Edwards isn't looking, so I can use a chair. It's just the worst attempt at trying to hit anybody ever. She did turn around and said, Rick, I'm right here, dude. I can see you. You gotta leave, you're out of here. Brody then did a big old dive to put one of the dive counter onto Leona, as it was Khan that suffered the 21 plex, meaning Bandido, Brodido, Vanabimbo just got another win. Now, yes, sure, we should probably try and carve out a proper feud for them, which I do think is gonna be the Young Bucks. They weren't on this show, but in terms of, like I say, continuing the momentum with those tag team belts, I'm giving it an up. They're really good. The Gates of Agony are really good. Let's not forget, it's only sort of been the last couple of months where they have made themselves known on Dynamite. I liked all of this, just a good watch. Alicia Rattell was then backstage with Mark Briscoe and the Conglomeration, and she wanted to know who their mystery tag team partner was going to be, but Mark said that the word of the day is mystery, so I'm not going to tell you. When they made a lot of orange references, pretty sure you could have figured it out. Renee Paquette also found the brand new women's champion, Kris Statlander, and Kris was like, I am a fighting champion, hence why I'm going to fight later. She's going to take on Mina Shirakawa. And Harley Cameron was here as well, just going, Kris, I think you're the best and I love you. At this point, I am going to say it was a little bit weird that both the men's and women's champion were doing exactly the same thing. It's like open challenges galore. But I have more to say about this, and I will do so later. Renee also wanted to know what the deal was with Kris and the Death Riders, and she dropped that line in saying, things can move quite fast when something happens. It's more poetic than that, but it is something that John Moxley has said before, and that was going to tie into our main event. I actually quite liked what AEW did. When Hangman Page basically murks Lee Moriarty, like Lee did get loads in here and showed off his technical wrestling skill, but also felt very much to me like Hangman Adam Page is here and Lee Moriarty is here. And when you have different levels, that should be able to be seen in a pro wrestling match. Also, Bryan Danielson on commentary clearly loves Lee Moriarty. He was going crazy over the guy. He is really damn good though, and I actually think if we get him into more promo skits to get his character over, he has all the potential. And at one point, he avoided the Deadeye, and he applied the Border City stretch. Hangman was like, well, I'm going to wiggle and jiggle. I'm going to go for the Deadeye, and he kind of missed again when he finally got the Deadeye, and it was the 1, 2, 3. I do like that Hangman has 2 moves he can hit you with. Again, he's your top-tier babyface. He should have an arsenal of toys. Now, my only slight, once again, this is going to tie into something we'll talk about later, is that at the moment, Hangman Adam Page doesn't really have much of a direction. Like, MJF has gone away, and I kind of feel like we could have done the Mark Briscoe match, even if it was on TV, and even though it would be babyface versus babyface. But Mark Briscoe did defeat MJF at All Out, and of course, MJF has that contract, so I feel like you could have done a justification for it. At the moment, Page is kind of just hanging out in the corner, playing Nintendo. But yes, I have a further point I want to make about this in just a few minutes, so for now, I'm just going to give the match an up. And really, we should try and use this as a platform for Lee Moriarty. Again, just let his personality fly. I think he'll do pretty good. When Adam Copeland left AEW because he is going to have a match with John Cena. That's what the internet thinks anyway. Because in 2025, someone just says something and everyone just jumps on the bandwagon. I kind of feel like Percy Jackson may be filming at the moment, and Adam Copeland is a star in those things, so he's probably just taking some time off to do that. What do I know? Nothing. Anyway, though, it was after All Out, and Renee Paquette was like, oh, Adam, what happened to your wife? It's terrible. And Copeland just went, listen, I love you, but I can't talk right now, as if he'd been waiting weeks to tell her about his feelings. But he found Christian Cage and said, listen, I can't do this anymore. My family has been destroyed in wrestling before. I have to go away for a while. You're just going to have to deal with it. Now, Christian was kind of not bothered because he's icing his head. But he was like, well, I understand that you have to protect your family, but I don't even have a family anymore. When Adam extended his hand and said, yes, you do, I think he meant that he was his family. Therefore, surely Christian should leave with him, because they've all got to take care of Beth. Now, of course, it just means that Adam Copeland can have a big old comeback in a few weeks, probably when FTR are whipping Christian's ass. I do have to say, AEW needs to be careful here, because Copeland does have a lot of comebacks, and you don't want to overdo the pooch. But listen, if you are going to go away to do some extracurricular activity, this was the way to do it. I mean, FTR did quite literally drop his wife on her head. She's probably going to need some help. In kayfabe terms. It is a shame though, because I just love seeing them together, but again, it's super cool that he does have these outside projects. When we cut to FTR, and Cash Wheeler was like, listen, we didn't want to do that. It was an accident, but it's also your fault, Adam Copeland, because you're a massive goober. I mean, you shouldn't have brought your wife to the pay-per-view to begin with. And the best part was, Cash was trying to make it clear, we just wanted to end your career, man. We didn't mean for it to get so out of control. I really like this FTR. They are so damn funny. And Tony Schiavone was on interview duties here, and even he said, you guys are absolutely disgusting. I think he also said that Beth Phoenix had a micro brawl ahead. So I was like, oh man, we're here again. When Stokely Hathaway took the microphone, and he too was like, she tried to beat me up, but it didn't hurt at all, like he was 12. Dax also then said he's not saying sorry about any of this, and all he wanted to do was drop Adam Copeland and Christian Cage on their stupid heads. And actually, once again, it was Adam's fault because he had a broken nose, and when Beth punched him right in the face, he couldn't see properly because he had water streaming out of his eyes, so he wanted to do the spike pile driver on Adam Copeland, and he just so happened to make a mistake. You can't blame him. Gonna double down on this. Heel FTR are hilarious. He also made sure to drop in the line that he would never hit a woman, although he uses that term lightly when it comes to Beth Phoenix. And the only real shame is that Adam Copeland does have to go away, because this feud has some real intensity, man. So I think whatever we have to do to make sure we keep it here is exactly what we have to do. I sort of feel like they should go after the tag team titles at some point as well, although they did lose it all out, so I have to get a couple of wins. But we may get that, because of all the people, Willow Nightingale that interrupted, she was like, you're an idiot, and you're most definitely an idiot. Do you know one of the reasons why I got into this business? It was because of people like Beth Phoenix. Now you're out here trying to kill them. She also demanded they offered a proper apology when Stokely joined in once again and said, Willow, I think it's past your bedtime. Why don't you go home and watch episodes of Proud Family? I was like, Willow, you gotta hit him She slapped him right around the face. Now, Jet Speed must have been watching this like a couple of weirdos because they ran out because they understood the numbers game, and eventually FTR did have to run away. So I presume we may do Stokely Hathaway versus Willow Nightingale, which I'm totally down for, but we can also do Jet Speed versus FTR. Now, I love Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight, but I do kind of feel like they need to lose that one, then give FTR another win, and then probably let them win the tag team titles. Although again, I think the Young Bucks are going to be in there too. I do not know. I just think to really hamp this up, you should do Copeland and Cage versus FTR with the belts on the line in a few weeks or a couple of months. I just think they've got the moxie here. They've certainly got the depth. I enjoy all of this. I am going to give it an up. It all comes down to the fact that the people involved are total psychopaths. Speaking of that too, we then cut to MJF, who was talking after All Out as well. And this dude is totally crushed. He was like, man, I used to be the biggest star in wrestling. Now I lose all the time. And it was that stupid Adam Cole that did this. He took my moxie away. What the flub am I going to do? He's still a generational talent, however, but at the moment he feels like he's playing MJF as opposed to being the real Maxwell Jacob Friedman. That's why he keeps making mistakes. It's created more doubt, especially because he's got a bunch of thumbtacks in it at the moment. So what he is going to do is he's going to go away for a while and he will not return until he can look in the mirror and understand who he is again, and then return to AEW as the most dangerous man in pro wrestling. Now, this is an Adam Copeland situation, because I do think that MJF is about to film a film, which again is a stupid sentence, but this was just so well pitched, I suppose, by MJF. He didn't shout, he didn't scream, he just came across like a man who had been taken to the edge of the world and didn't know what to do. I'm just going to give him an up. This is why Maxwell Jacob Friedman can lose all the time. You just have to give him a promo and say, Max, can you say things, please? And he gets his heat back instantly. The man knows what he's doing. This is when we did get to the Don Callis family taking on Hologram, Mark Briscoe, and the returning Orange Cassidy. But I thought this was tremendous, because Don Callis was going to show off one of his brand new paintings, when of course Orange Cassidy just crashed through it, when the big screen came up with media not found, as if he hadn't sent his proper video into AEW. And some people are like, oh my God, I can't believe they made another production mistake. One, let's say they did. This was perfectly timed because it does tie to Orange Cassidy's character. But two, let us look at the evidence. It's something that Lazy Orange would do, so I think this was a joke. And either way, I thought it was very funny. Cassidy then started to do all his moves as his music started to play, and when it did calm down, it was Hologram versus Hechicero. And of course, Takeshita and Okada are getting involved in here too, and they had their big stare-off. We do have Wrestle Dream in a few weeks. I think we probably could get to that match after we turn Takeshita babyface, and given what they did at All Out, my gosh, it could be a match of the year. It was actually Orange Cassidy that stopped these two as well, because he did the little kits, when he hit them with a double Hurricane Rana. So we have just seen everything in 2025, because we are not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Somehow Hologram then hit the most ridiculous destroy I've ever seen, as he did get out of the mad science bomb, when it was Orange Cassidy that was like, I think I can hit that guy with the orange punch, which he did do when Hologram hit his, what's it called, portal bomb or something like that, and he got the 1, 2, 3, and his record is now something like 422-0. That's like someone needs to give this mother Hubbard a title match. And then he got 1 seconds later. Because Carl Fletcher came out and started talking about how he is the best TNT champion ever, but he also tied it into his loss at All Out, because he was like, yeah, I did wake up and I did cry into my cornflakes. That stupid cowboy was right. But then I was like, damn it, I still got this championship. So, Mr. Hologram, the only reason you do have so many wins is because you've never taken on me, mate. So why don't we have a match next week, and I will take that streak and I'll flash it down the bathroom, or you will take my title. Definitely didn't sound like that. I mean, who the flub comes from weird space? So I thought all of this was fine, and having Orange Cassidy back on my television is just so damn great. He is an underrated talent, even though he has totally proved everyone wrong over the last few years. I don't think my 2019 prediction of him being the world champion come 2022 is going to happen, but it doesn't matter, man. He is just the ultimate example that if you can find your own niche in wrestling, anything is possible, and I enjoy that we're doing Carl vs. Hologram next week. Though Carl Fletcher should definitely win. I'm giving it an up. I feel like we ticked a lot of boxes. Mina Shirakawa then told us she hasn't heard from Toni Storm, but they are the best of friends. And even though she does like Kris Statlander, she also wants to be the women's champion, so she's going to go out there and get it. I don't think anybody believed this was going to happen. It would have been a silly decision. We also got that clip of Jack Perry nursing Luchasaurus back to health, which I still don't understand, because we saw Luchasaurus in the Kip Sabian angle, although I know, I get it. Of course, Nick Wayne got injured, so we had to do something. But while all of this is very strange, the coolest thing is that next week the Jurassic Express will be back in tag team action, and given that we are about to get to the 6-year anniversary of Dynamite, which I can't handle, well, you may as well get some OGs back into the game. I just think it's the right decision, and I look forward to seeing it. Isn't that the point of a television show? Yes. When we got Claudio Castagnoli versus Powerhouse Hobbs in a big man slapping man meat match, just go and watch it. Like at one point, Hobbs just went power slam, not power slam, body slam, body slam, body slam, body slam. So shout out to Psycho Mike. Sometimes you don't need to overthink the pudding. And then Claudio came back by just smacking him in the face. I could have watched this all day, or the allocated minutes Tony Khan gave them on Dynamite. Claudio also hit this disgusting looking back suplex when he did it again, like Britney Spears, when they just continued to slug it out. Now, obviously the Death Riders were going to get involved to put one on the dick board, and it was packed, which makes sense, because you want to remind you, oh my gosh, he has returned, and that allowed Claudio to hit the most devastating move. In all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up for the three, but I kind of feel like we need to do more with Hobbs at some point. This was just a barrel of laughs, and look at the man. He's absolutely huge. You could push him. The Death Riders, of course, attacked Hobbs afterwards when Samoa Joe came out to make the save, because, of course, he is 1/3 of Samoa Joe and the Opportunities, and Powerhouse Hobbs is a 2/3 of that. And the third is Shibata, who has gone back to Japan, I believe. I was like, bro, you have timed that terribly. It just meant they were outnumbered, so who the hell was going to come out to sort out this wrestling maths? And it was Hangman Adam Page. Now listen, a big part of me was like, oh my gosh, my champion, I love you so much. But another side was like, I don't know if you want Hangman Adam Page back involved with the Death Riders. Like, it will probably lead to Hangman versus Pac, which is something I'm always happy to see, because they're so damn good. But he's already beaten the top guy, so it's kind of weird if all of a sudden you're taking on one of his henchmen. So as always, I was torn like Natalie and Brodido, because again, Pac versus Hangman for the title. Who's going to get mad at that? But then, later on, Kris Statlander would also get involved with the Death Riders, and that's why I'm going to give it a down. Like, I think I'll probably renege on this in a couple of weeks, but I don't think Hangman should be back with the Death Riders, and because Kris is now also involved with the Death Riders, well, you don't want to take your two champions and just kind of schmosh it all together creatively. But I also think I'm jumping on this a bit too soon. Doesn't matter. It's getting it up for Claudio versus Powerhouse Will Hobbs. Turns out I would watch that every single day for the rest of my life. Sometimes I just want two big dudes crashing into each other. And in terms of Claudio, talk about an underrated gem. We do not shout his name enough. We then got Tony Khan's big announcement, and I love this because, yes, the women's tag team titles are real. And the instant criticism to this is, oh my gosh, we just have too many championships in AEW, but also across the wrestling landscape, this is true. But I don't think that means you shouldn't add ones that do make sense. It means we should go the other way. And if you do have a couple of belts that are kind of, well, pointless, get rid of those. Because the truth is, AEW's women's division at the moment is drowning in depth, and the more we can do to showcase that, the better. Also, it's 2025. If you have men's tag team title belts, why wouldn't you have women's ones? So yeah, you shouldn't be shouting about the new ones we have been introduced. We should be finding other ones and flushing them down the toilet. Don't do that, it sounds disgusting. We've already got a bunch of natural alliances already that have been formed, and of course it means we can recruit new people. And I also hope it lights a fire under WWE, and we do more with the women's tag team belts over there, because sometimes they can be the best thing about the show. So I'm absolutely giving this an up. I think, like I say, the mad potential is there. You just got to book them right, man. Then in 6 to 8 weeks, no one's going to moan anyway. When we did get to our main event for the Women's Championship, Kris Statlander versus Mina Shirakawa, and no, nobody thought Shirakawa was going to win. But actually, in terms of just giving a defense to Kris and starting her on her way, I thought it was pretty damn good and I had a good time. Shirakawa got some offense in to begin with when she started to dance. How many times do I have to tell wrestlers not to pose in the middle of their offense? Because Statlander came back and I tell you, she booted her halfway to the Phantom Zone. They also started dropping each other on the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring when they wanted to get their finishes in. But it turned out their meters weren't full, which was kind of surprising for Mina because, of course, she had posed, she had hit the D-pad, and usually that does increase your strength. It meant that Shirakawa got this crazy avalanche sling blade in instead for a 1-2, when she actually also got Kris Statlander in the figure 4. And then Kris Statlander broke out the figure 4, a time as old as Tail itself. I got that wrong. A Tail as old as time itself. It's been a long week. She also then booted Mina right in the head when she was able to apply a version of the most devastating move In all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, but it was Wheeler Yuta's seatbelt pin, and who would come at the start of the match to whisper something in Kris Statlander's ear? It's probably Wheeler Yuta. Probably, it was Wheeler Yuta. So now I think he must have said, hey, you know that thing that you keep doing? Do it again. Christian had turned around going, oh, thanks for the advice, Wheels. You kind of suck. He ran out to celebrate with Kris afterwards too, as did Harley Cameron, as Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir also made their slow entrance. And all of this was trying to tell you, oh my gosh, Kris Statlander is going to join the Riders of Death. And she even gave Wheeler Yuta a big hug. As soon as she could, she took his head off, she ducked Marina, and she flipped Jon Moxley off right into his face as Harley Cameron and her ran away. I actually thought this was pretty damn good. Now, there is a part of my brain that thinks maybe she would have been better going into the thing, but watching this, that would have been a terrible idea. I thought it was really well done. We then most definitely have to put a 1 on the crime counter because Darby Allin came out with a massive flamethrower. And at first, Jon Moxley stood there all like, I can handle the flames. And then Darby shot it and Jon was like, nope. And he tripped over Simba the Steel Steps. Now, I've already seen some people on the internet saying, oh, this is so stupid. This is so cartoony. AEW always goes too far. Have you forgotten that childlike part of your brain? Imagine you were 13 years old watching this and you could have messaged someone going, oh my gosh, Darby Allin just came out with a flamethrower. It's a graphic novel in real time, damn it. Listen, you're allowed to like and hate whatever you want, of course you do, but this can't go away from wrestling. I love the sports entertainment madness. It's just so over the top. I think it was brilliant, especially when you look at it from a kid's point of view. He also got a microphone and told Jon Moxley, can you not understand I'm never going to quit, and therefore at Wrestle Dream, I challenge you to an I Quit match. And Jon Moxley responded by doing this. He just kind of did funny things with his faces. Ultimately, I think it will go down. Man, Darby is going to have to win. And yes, I do understand that maybe there should be some consequences for Darby Allin walking out with a flamethrower, but I would still this stuff rather be in wrestling. And like I say, I also enjoy the fact that Kris Statlander did turn down the Death Riders, but it also goes back to that down I already gave this. I'm not entirely sure having both your men's and women's champion in sort of the same angle is the best idea. But we'll wait and see. I could be totally wrong, but for all of this and the angle afterwards, I am going to give it an up. I mean, we've got a damn good match. We've got a women's title defense, and then a man came out with an oversized weapon, wanting to set another man on fire. Why the flub not, man? It is going to get an up. And actually, I really enjoyed this episode of AEW Dynamite. There are holes for sure. Hangman Adam Page absolutely needs a proper feud, as do those tag team titles. And the trios titles need to get back on television. But listen, we can have a few criticisms that we do mention and still have a pretty good time. That's how I felt. Let's get it up. Now, of course, please do leave me a comment below and let me know what you thought about the show last night. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for Raw, which I also enjoyed. So wrestling is back on track. Otherwise, my friends, have a terrific day. See you soon.